what that basically means is that if you put some money into the bank will pay you a little bit of interest. So if you put $1,000 into the bank will offer you a certain amount of interest. So after a year or so, you will have a little bit more than 1,000. They'll pay you a little bit extra. All right? Or alternatively, it could be that you borrow some money from the bank or similar, and in order to borrow that money, they will charge you interest. So they might give you $15,000 to buy a car, and then you have to pay back the $15,000 plus a little bit more. That's how banks make their money. So there's a formula for working out simple interest. There's different types of interest. We're only worried about simple interest at the moment. And the formula goes like this. Whoop, let me turn the pen on, sorry. Principal, sorry, let me just start that again. Always make a mistake when it's being filmed. Let's try that again. Interest equals principal times rate times time. So let's go through these items one by one so we know what we're talking about. Okay? So the I stands for the interest. Interest is the amount of money that the bank is going to pay you for giving them money and investing money, or it's the amount of money that you need to pay on top of what you got loaned. The principal is the amount invested or perhaps borrowed, depending on whether you are putting money into or out of the bank. Jamison, you have a question?
When did we start learning about the bank?
Right, 5 minutes ago. This is it, okay? So we're learning about percentages, and now we're applying that to a particular circumstance which is going to be relevant to everyone in the classroom. At some point, you're going to be dealing with banks, borrowing money or investing money into banks. Every one of us. All right, so the rate is the interest rate. Okay, the bank... Okay, now this is very important. The interest rate, we have to convert the rate to a fraction before we do the calculation. So the bank will say something like, we will pay you 4% interest. When we do our calculation, we don't put the number 4 in there, we put 4 divided by 100. We convert that number to a decimal or fraction first. And the time, T is for time, and that's got to be in years. Okay? So whatever time you're given, you need to convert that into years. So if I said 6 months, you'd have to say half a year. Okay? So if it's in months, you'd have to divide it by 12. So examples coming up. So interest equals the amount of money you start with, times by the interest rate converted to the decimal point first, then times by the amount of time that it's invested for, or how much time it takes you to pay it back. So let's move on to some examples. Let's say that I put $5,000. So I'm going to invest $5,000. I'm going to call that the principal. Okay? The rate, the bank at the moment is saying it will pay me 3.5% per annum. So when interest rates are advertised, it will be 3.5%. PA stands for per annum, which I believe in Latin annum is year, so per year it's going to be 3.5% per every year. And we are going to do it for a time of 3 years. Okay? So I might want to know how much interest is the bank going to give me if I invest $5,000 at 3.5% for 3 years. So we start with the formula we just learned. Interest equals principal times rate times time. We start with the principal. That's 5,000. The rate, very important, which is why I'm going to repeat it quite a bit. must convert this to a decimal or a fraction first. So I don't put 3.5 in there. I put 3.5 over 100, which your calculator is going to do that for you. It's going to find it, no problems at all. And then I'm going to times that by the amount of years, which is 3 years. So we get our calculators out, and we go 5,000 times by 3.5 divided by 100, 3.5 over 100, times by 3. Anyone got an answer? If you've got $525, you have done it correctly. Well done. All right, so now my next question. Thank you. My next question is, how much money do you have altogether? Yeah, what would you do to find out how much money you've got altogether?
You add the original amount with the amount that you just got.
Great. So the original amount,
So you're
Was-
saying free money.
well, it's not free money. What's happened here, it's a good, interesting way of thinking about it. Okay, so your total is $5,525. So we'll just stop this now.